Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dragon Culture Media proudly brings to you the Command Center. And as always, I got my partner in crime, Miss Macarah. How are you this morning?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So if this stream goes off the rails very quickly, just bear with us, chat. Both me and Macarah are running off of zero sleep. So this is going to be fun.
And hopefully the power stays on with the storm outside, because other way, then Draken would just take over. It's his show.
Yeah, that'll just probably have to be the stream. I'm a little subconscious and I don't really like to do this by myself.
I
So
know. I'm like, oh gosh, the power better stay on for the whole thing.
she gone. I'd be like, well, chat, it was a good episode. See ya.
Well, I don't, because I don't know if it will work on my data, but hopefully, because right now I'm on the Wi-Fi's up and working great, because we like Starlink is great because I haven't had any issues in the bad weather.
That's good.
Yeah.
That used to not be a thing for satellite.
Yeah.
So
Like before, oh my goodness, our internet was so crappy, but now it's like, oh yay, now it works. Even during come snow or rain, it works. But hopefully the power doesn't go
well,
out.
I've got cable internet, but it does pretty well. I mean, where I live in an apartment complex in the city. Although that being said, when I first moved in, that was not the case. The wires were like from the 80s. And so a couple years ago, they finally, um, the cable company and the apartment complex finally worked out a deal because enough of us complained and replaced the wires. But the wires hadn't been replaced in like 40 years because the apartment complex said it wasn't their responsibility, and the cable company said it wasn't their responsibility. So yeah, that was the whole thing. Anyway, that's not why everyone's here. We're here to talk about Legend of the White Dragon, the movie that no one thought we'd ever get to see, that apparently we're going to get to see today. Well,
Yeah.
not today, but eventually. So we're going to talk
Right.
about that. We're
Yeah.
also going to be talking about One Piece live action. So uh, I watched it. I enjoyed it. We'll go into that later. I'm not really sure what Mac thinks about it, but we'll get into that when it's time. And then if we have enough time, I'm going to dive into a little rabbit hole that I jumped into this morning that I think will be fun to discuss. But let's move into our first topic. So, as most people, if you're watching here, you're a fan of Power Rangers, hopefully, um, and you know that about 4 years ago, recently, well, 4 years ago isn't recently, but around this time, 4 years ago, we lost Jason David Frank, the original Green Ranger, and one of my heroes, namesake of the channel and everything. And his last project was Legend of the White Dragon, written and directed by the guy who runs the Bat in the Sun YouTube channel, who has a history in special effects and everything. And they were longtime friends. There's some rumors that they had a falling out right before Jason's passing. Regardless, they worked on this project together. And ever since Jason passed away, this movie has been in development hell, which is still weird because they finished the movie and just wouldn't release it. Which is, I've heard so many rumors and never anything concrete or coherent as to why the movie wasn't being released.
Well,
Um,
I know the daughter was working on it with him, his daughter,
mhm.
and I'm sure she had some push for the movie. Maybe, maybe if
From
she
my
was.
understanding, it's her and her mother were named executors over his estate. Part of ownership of the movie went into his estate, and she has been directly overseeing his part of the estate over that movie. And
Yeah.
so she is a big part is why this movie is getting released from what I've heard.
Yep. Because she wanted to honor her dad and keep the movie going.
Right. Um, I don't really know a whole lot about her. Um, I know that there's a lot of people in the fandom that don't like her. I don't really know why. I don't understand their reasonings. I'm not going to go into the rumors or anything because,
Yeah.
on one hand, I don't really know the rumors, and secondly, I don't care. It's the dude's daughter. He was all of our heroes, and regardless of what she does, says, or whatever, it's his kid. You know?
Yeah. Plus, we don't know her personally, and we don't know what she's been through with her dad's passing. So I'm not.
Right.
So we don't know enough to ever have like an opinion of her because for the most part she's been pressing forward of trying to get this movie out and trying to honor her dad.
Yeah.
So because this is his part of his legacy of what he's created in life, what he's been a part of.
Well, I mean, this was one of his babies. I mean, I think the guy's name is Aaron that runs Bat in the Sun. He talked about how much this was his baby, and I'm like, but I seem to remember this being in development hell when in the writing of the movie. Jason, I remember hearing stories that Jason kept pushing him to finish the script, finish the script. Jason was the one that was pretty much the production manager on set. So in a lot of ways, it's kind of like father, like daughter, in the way that Jenna has been pushing this project.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that to pick on Aaron. I'm saying that based on just the information that I've heard over the almost decade plus that this movie's been in development.
Yeah,
I mean, let's see here. I've lived in my current apartment since 2019, and I think this movie was in production starting in 2015. So, yeah,
yeah,
it's been a long development of this movie.
yeah. And I was like, oh gosh, maybe it's just a rumor, it's not coming out. But they gave a date,
Hmm.
and because otherwise they would just say, "Oh, it's maybe slated to be around this year," but no, they actually gave a full date of when it's releasing. And I mean, they haven't really done like a whole lot of trailers because they had trailers, they had footage. Um, some of the footage I don't know because they did have footage with Johnny Young Bosch. I think because of scheduling conflict, I think he dropped out of the movie. I don't know if he's got any scenes in it or if he completely pulled his scenes out and they redid it because I know they went through reshoots. So we'll see. I really, really hope it's awesome.
I'm going to try to look it up while we're talking here and see. Regal doesn't have any information on it. I had heard yesterday that theaters were starting to put it on their websites. Well, let me go and check AMC.
Well, yeah, because it's only going to be select theaters. So I'm usually when we have select theater movies, especially from Welgo USA Entertainment, it's usually
Hmm.
IMAX just for those limited releases because a lot of those movies go straight to streaming afterwards, usually Fandango and stuff and whatnot.
Well, that's interesting and a little concerning. So neither Regal nor AMC theaters have it yet on their website.
Well,
Now,
maybe.
normally when a movie is released or has says that they have a release date, a theater's website will have like an article or something announcing it as well. So
Probably
even with
not.
limited releases, that's kind of concerning to me, anyway.
Will they wait until it's closer to August?
Potentially, but given the nature of Jason David Frank, given the drama surrounding his passing and everything, now maybe it's just because it's too close to home for me, but I would think that given the nature of everything and recent dates, that this would be one of those movies that mainstream media would be jumping on to at least have articles about. I mean, we've got this one here. I can go ahead and share. Screen share this. So we've got the article here, so Power Rangers Legend returns to movie theaters this summer for one final post-modus roll. And this is from Polymarket. And it's just, roughly talking about, and I gotta admit, that suit does really look cool. Obviously, they took inspiration in the helmet from the Green Ranger helmet, and then the suit combination of the White Ranger and Green Ranger. So that's really cool. They also, his allies, the suits, they did kind of like a mashup of the clones and the Time Force suits, which I thought was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And they've got other Power Rangers in the show. They've got Wes from Time Force, and they've got Gia from Ninja Steel.
hmm And isn't the Yellow Ranger from Megaforce in this as well?
I believe so. I just remember because they had like few trailers, but they had a trailer with when they did do it, and it was a. I mean, it's a little old, but I think I'm pretty sure if that's what the trailer they're going with. I don't know if they're gonna redo it, a different one, but that was the trailer that they had. Johnny Young Bosch, I believe, was supposed to be in it, and then due to scheduling conflicts, I think they removed some of his scenes and then reshot some of it. But I don't know if they're gonna keep any of his scenes in it or work him out, but because I think they went through rewrites too. So I don't
Mm.
know. There's a whole lot of stuff surrounding this film.
Yeah, which
Like,
is so it's so sad because like I said, this was this was JD one of his last babies, per se, that he was really passionate about, which makes the way he passed so much more confusing and why there was all the conspiracy theories and everything surrounding it. I mean, as you'll see later, I do consider myself kind of a conspiracy theorist, but some of the things that people were coming up with were just they just felt wrong. And don't get me wrong, I had my questions too, but the way people were going about it was highly disrespectful to him, and yet they were doing it in his name. And just it made no sense. Just the way people were acting.
yeah, I feel like
So
people, even if you don't like the person, like please have respect for people who pass away.
right.
Um, um,
And, and we don't know what was going through his mind. I mean, to him, it was bad enough. Think about this. This is a man who fought depression his entire life, who started the whole slogan, Jesus didn't tap, and then still ended up taking his life after spending decades going from city to city, you know, evangelizing not taking your own life. And so it had to have been whatever's going on in his life had to have been bad enough to, at least to him, that he felt like it was the only way out. Um, I have no idea what that would be. I mean, from everything I heard, he was making amends with his family. He had just restarted a kindred ship with his daughter that he hadn't talked to in a while, his oldest. Um, so I don't know. The whole thing is weird. Like I said, I have questions. I'm not going to opine on them anymore out of respect. Plus, I mean, it's been 4 years. If anything was going to come out, it would have come out by now. I mean,
mhm.
it's not like he was Elvis Presley or something, to where there could be a whole big government conspiracy around him. I don't believe that. It I just don't.
Yeah,
And so
and to be respectful of his family as well because they went through the loss and that had to have been really difficult for them.
yeah.
So, but yeah, any more on the movie? I don't know if you want to like get into anything at what it's about.
I don't really know a whole lot about the movie other than it's pretty much just an ensemble cast of former Rangers. I know it's a script that Aaron had thrown around for years. It took Jason nearly 5 years to push Aaron to finish it. Um, yeah, really, the most I know about the movie is just it's been in developmental hell for over 10 years.
Did you ever
Um,
watch any of like the footage, the trailers that came out? Because I know there was like the last one that I did see. It had some of the at least a bit of a synopsis of what was going on.
I strangely enough, it's not usually my what I do, but I actually stayed away from all the promotional stuff for it. Part of
Mhm,
it was because of how it kept getting delayed, and I was like, I didn't wanna get my hopes up and then it never get released, you know?
mhm.
And then another part is I was so excited for it, I didn't wanna know nothing about it. I wanted to go in the theaters and watch it with fresh eyes. Um, don't wanna jinx myself, but surprisingly, outside of Star Fox, I haven't been spoiled on the new Mario movie. So, I'm kind of stoked about that,
Yeah.
you know? I keep seeing people say, "Stay off of Twitter, stay off of X," and I'm like, "I haven't seen nothing." So,
Yeah,
uh, but then I kinda use the following tab more than the For You, and apparently everyone else uses the For You, so
yeah. Well, I won't spoil anything for you, but just basically what they said was basically what the trailer just showed looked really cool from what I saw. If that's the trailer they're sticking with, or they're gonna redo it closer to the film release, but I would at least hope they would do more promotion for it. I mean, this is the
yeah.
time to keep promoting it if August isn't too far away.
Well, and see, I've heard rumors that somehow Saban might be helping them in some way. I don't know in what capacity. I don't even know if that's true. It's just a rumor that I've heard. So if Saban, out of respect to Jason, which with all the problems that Saban had with all the actors and stuff, they always stood by Jason, and Jason always still stood by them. So
Yeah. So cross your
for,
fingers and hope it really, really goes through because I really want to see this movie so bad. I've wanted to
I,
see it for
yeah.
years.
So let's go into a more positive, or I think positive topic, and the One Piece live action, which I have a little surprise for y'all. Actually, I'll wait on that. So we're gonna give your general thoughts, and then we'll go into spoilers. So,
Okay.
Macarah, you can go first.
Season two of One Piece or Opla was very good. I very much enjoyed it over season one. And as I know, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's so cheesy." It's like, yeah, because they're following the anime, and I think it captures a lot of the heart of the anime, but it's not. It's a little bit more toned down. Like Sanji isn't like a huge simp with bloody noses every time he sees Nami, and he's more of a flirt, but he
Yeah.
he he is very like caring and thoughtful towards Nami, and he does flirt with other girls, so it's not just Nami that he flirts with.
Oh,
But
he likes the
Nam
ladies.
Oh, yeah, he does. Like, McKenyu, and Taz Skylar really all of them really went above and beyond to get into character for these roles because not only did they act, they had to learn how to fight, and Sanji, Taz Skylar had to learn how to cook, fight, and bottles sling bottles to learn how to do that. He had to get in shape to play Sanji. It was a whole thing he had to do. McKenyu had to learn how to hold a sword in his mouth. And of course, you had the other actors who learned gymnastics, and uh, Emily Red learned the bow staff. And it was all kinds of stuff that the cast had to learn to do it. And I know a lot of people had issues with like the race swaps and everything. I think because of how they were colored in the anime, uh, versus like the manga, um, I think a lot of it was obviously they looked a lot lighter compared to what they were trying to do. Maybe they couldn't necessarily do skin tones back then when they were doing that, but when it animated, they animated it based off of what was how the colors were in the manga, but so everyone else kind of looked lighter, but the creator obviously didn't have an issue with the cast, and I yes, some race swaps are like, but you know what? It didn't distract it from me for me because I enjoyed the cast. They enjoy their characters, they enjoy the show, and yeah, that's all you really want from a live action, and those are not easy to do, and they don't always work out. So I'm kind of glad this one did.
You know, overall, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it more than season one. I would say I enjoyed it about the same. I don't think that's a demerit or a knock against it or any way. It's like, no, I liked it the same. I enjoyed both season one and season two equally. And given the rest of the slop on Netflix, I consider that a high bar. I think right
Yeah,
now, live action One Piece is one of the best things on Netflix. Um, if I would have to give it any criticism, I would say 2 points. On the lesser note, the race swaps, they do not take away from the story, but what pulls me out is I know that there's politics behind it. They did it because of politics. The
mhm,
one saving grace is it doesn't affect the story. That's what saves them. In my opinion, that saves their ass. So
yeah,
I give them a pass on this, you know, with a little asterisk saying, "Hey, I know why you did it." Um,
yeah,
and then the only other criticism I give is it was too short. 8 episodes was not enough.
yeah.
When the last episode ended, I kept waiting for the next episode to play, and then some random movie came on. I was like, "Wait, where's the rest of it?" Like I legitimately did not think that was all of it. So
Well, the first one was 8 episodes too. So they're like I think because of the budget and what they have available to do with it, because that's a lot of money just for that whole production, just for those 8 episodes, so well, hey, I know, maybe they'd have more money if they'd stop, putting Harry and Meghan on Netflix.
which I mean, supposedly Netflix cut ties with Megan, but not Harry, which is weird.
I know,
It's
but
like, wait, they're a package deal, but you just cut Megan out. That's weird.
well, yeah, she's very unlikable. But yeah, I really like season 2. I did like season 1 a lot, but season 2 definitely had more hijinks and a lot more comedy to in that, but it also had some drama but it was really interesting. I
I'd say
love
that's fair.
I love the behind the scenes stuff, like, with the cast, you can tell they, like, absolutely adore each other and love spending time in each other's companies, whereas, like, usually you hear about something going wrong all the time or people not getting along or but and the fact that, like, you have a cast of, like, people who respect each other enough to give each other enough screen time and to have, like, good story arcs, and they all adore each other in the show, like, they protect each other. There's a lot of, like, camaraderie, and it's nice to see, and then lately, especially with how girl bossy when, like, girls tend to be and everything and have to outperform the boys, and it's like, you don't get that at all
Yeah.
from Nami. Like, you can tell she
No.
absolutely adores her guy friends.
Well,
I
we can go into spoilers now, and I've got a little neat little thing to share with y'all right here. Well, looky there. Spoiler alert. So, but yeah, so let's go into a little more details into that. Um, and where do you want to start?
um, let's see. So, what did you think of, like, the new additions to the show? So, obviously, we had Smoker, we had
Hmm.
a couple other villains, Yeah.
Smoker was really cool.
He reminds
Um,
me of Henry Cavill in a good way.
a
Like
little
it
bit.
was like a little bit like the gravitas, but it's like he is pretty dang cool.
He reminded me of the Cavalrine
Yeah.
with the cigar. So, um, no, I liked Smoker. Smoker was probably the best of the new additions.
Hmm.
Um, I wasn't too fond of Miss Wednesday and her bodyguard at first. But then like once the reveal happened and everything, they started to grow on me, and then that made it like his death so much worse after the fact. So
Hmm.
at least that's how it was for me. Um, the little girl, the little girl that like would control people with the paint,
Hmm.
that was creepy in a disturbing way for me. When she starts going into the backstory of like how she killed her family and everything, and I was just like, this is like horror movie level backstory with her. I
Yeah.
was just like, wow, it was
They
that
got
was
yeah. They play into the psychotic a little bit with those characters. I mean, of course, you couldn't have had a better actor play. Yeah, 3, and it was like, yeah, he did a great job. Like, obviously, he played Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad, and
yeah.
um, he's really good for playing those kind of roles, the eccentric kind of loony. So I think he did really good. I like the giants. I thought they were fun.
So I'm assuming the little girl's name is Golden Week.
Yeah, and
I'm
then
horrible with names. I all I remember is the pretty much the main cast. I remember Nami, but I mean it's Nami, so why wouldn't I remember her name? And then of course Luffy, which even with the anime, when I started watching the anime before the show, the first season, it took me forever to remember Luffy's name. I just called him the Straw Hat Kid for like a month.
well, some people like will say Luffy, and it's like it's Luffy.
I mean, we can send you the link beast if you want to hop on. You're more than
Yeah,
welcome to. It's up to
yeah.
you.
Come on, Beast.
Let's see here.
We always love hearing you rant.
Absolutely. I can send that to him real quick.
Oh, he's at work.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
we'll have to hear you rant some other time. But we would love to have you rant, but if you're working, we won't bother you.
Oh man. Well,
We'll be happy you can rant in the comments.
hey, we're just happy to have people in the comments, honestly.
Yeah.
No, overall, I like the show. I think Gary mentioned that on Friday Night Tights that the show just needs to be longer. Um,
Hmm.
but I assume that the budget for the show is astronomical.
Oh yeah, considering the CGI, it's kind of cool. Like they have a lot of practical effects. It's not all just all like they built the sets and everything, and even though the sets look like small, they're they have like small to large scale. And it's pretty cool going through all that.
Now, now shouldn't some of the like I don't know, I maybe I'm not informed well enough, but they spend most of their time on the ship as the show goes on. So like shouldn't this as far as the sets go, shouldn't the show get cheaper by just reusing sets?
Well, it depends because I know they use like certain like angles of the ship for certain scenes. Um, so they had so when they did the whale part, they had like a big wall that looked like the whale, but it's always just like half a set. It's not like a full blown like Lord of the Rings type set. It's just what they can shoot in a small angle. And then they had that, and they have a wall with like the reflective paper on, so when they aim a fan at it, that's kind of what you see out the windows to make it look like water. So they didn't like go out on a pirate ship on location or anything. They just they did what they could with the practical effects and then added some CGI.
Because
And the
I
CGI, I
noticed
think
this season they spent a lot of time. The two biggest sets were the jungle and the kitchen of the ship.
Little Garden.
So um, so that's where they so like the obviously the kitchen was that was a carryover from last season.
Mhm.
So they saved there.
They also
It
had the set for, when they went to the, pub, and then they had the whole bar fight with Zorro.
so I don't
So
know.
they had that
I
set.
feel like they probably spend most of their money. I think they spend most of their money on casting.
Mhm.
I
Well, I
mean, because
know well, they had
that
so a lot of the CGI was limited to a lot of, like, the ocean parts. Then, of course, you had you had, the whale, and then you had, uh, Chopper. Because even though Chopper was practical when he was, human, when he would shift, they
mhm.
had CGI for when he was little and for when he was, in reindeer form,
Well,
but they
speaking of Chopper, they got crap. I'm blanking on her name, but they got the woman who voiced Leela and was in Married with Children. They got her to play the old lady, which I thought was pretty cool. Um,
Kate Sagal,
yeah,
yeah,
and
She played Doctorine.
which I thought was cool. And then like I remembered from the show, and she was like, "Don't call me old." And I was like, "Okay, that was perfect."
Well, cause like, a lot of people were thinking, like, Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm glad they went with Kate Sagal instead.
Yeah,
She
I
was
always called
perfect
her
for that.
Katie for some reason, maybe from when I was a kid or whatever.
Well, I know most
Katie
people do.
Sagal. But no, I'm you know I heard that they're gonna start filming on season 3 soon, if not already. So I'm like, well, that's positive.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Um, like, there's a lot of like, I touched on it before, but there's a lot of camaraderie when it comes between the cast, and it comes through in the characters. It's not just them acting, like, they do a lot together for promotions, like, whether that's cooking, like, Taz Skylar does some cooking for the crew and the cast. He does, or they do, like, games, or they do, like, eating hot food or eating Japanese food. They just you can tell either they're really good at fooling you, but I don't think that's it. I think they really do enjoy each other's company, and it shows in the show. They bring a lot of good character development to their characters.
Well, I think that's a good place there. So I'd mentioned earlier that I wanted to touch on a little rabbit hole that I jumped into this morning. So I don't know how many of you get into conspiracy theories and all that, but so yesterday was the big launch of the Artemis 2 rocket. We got 4 astronauts on strapped to this rocket, going to make a 10-day trip. They're going to orbit around the moon and then come back and land on Earth. Now, this all seems rather routine, other than the fact that it's happening while America is at a military operations, let's just call it that, military operations going on, We've also got these fireballs that are all over the world, not just America. All like they're going over Mount Fuji in Japan and everything, and so that's really weird. Um, so it seems rather risky to do a rocket launch while there are numerous meteor showers going on. Um, by the way, going on when there are no meteors supposedly passing by the Earth in this period. So that's weird. It's like, okay, so where are these coming from? Number one theory is I'm hearing people saying that it's debris from 3i Atlas from last year because we're in the same spot where 3i Atlas passed through last year. I'm like, well, that makes sense. Um, but then something caught me off guard. Now, yesterday, a representative from NASA was on Fox News, and they were talking about the launch and everything. And they were talking about the fact that they had lost audio for about an hour, like 50, 51 minutes or so. But they didn't lose telemetry data. They didn't lose any video feed. It was only audio. Now, that in of itself is not weird. They always expect um, issues of some sort like that right at launch. And the reps said that as much, but there was one line in particular that he said that caught me off guard, and that was he said that though they expected issues, they weren't expecting that issue. And I was just like, wait a minute. You spend billions of dollars planning every second of this mission, and you make a statement like that. And the reason why I find that weird is because the entire government is in PR mode right now with the war, with the drones, with the meteors. And so they are like there is proven that they've got everyone meticulously watching what they say. And then you go out on national television and say, well, we weren't expecting that, but we were expecting issues. And you don't expect the conspiracy theorists to go, wait a minute. So I just wanted to see what AI would say about it. You know, I wanted to see if AI would tout the narrative or point out the discrepancies. And for the most part, it would keep going back to the official narrative and say, oh, there's no reason not to trust the official narrative. But then it would preface it by saying, but this is extremely weird and all logic suggests that they shouldn't have said that. And I was just like, there's something screwy going on. I don't know what. And a part of me feels like maybe it's a distraction and like he purposely said that to get people like me doing what I'm doing now, talking about it. So, uh, what do you
Yeah.
think, Mac?
Uh, I have no clue because I don't really like pay too much close attention. I watched the launch with the Brimstone and Wasp before streaming, but yeah, it was interesting. That's pretty much all I know about it. Like rocket in space.
Well, that was, a informative back and forth.
Sorry, I told you I didn't know anything. I warned you
Well,
beforehand.
I know you don't know anything, but I thought you would at least say, well, based on what you said, I thought you'd at
Yeah,
least give your 2 cents, just based on what what I say there.
yeah. Sorry. Um, it should take a rocket scientist to talk rocket science.
Well, I'm not even talking rocket science. I'm just talking about all the weirdness going on in the world.
No,
There's a lot of it.
I'm just making a joke that I don't like know all that stuff other than just I haven't paid too much close attention. Like yesterday, I didn't even really watch the news. I just had a lot going on this week. So,
I get that.
like I got a lot in my personal life to focus on, but sometimes it's like, okay, I don't really do like a whole lot of the news stuff. And if I do watch news, I watched Cobra Cast, and even then, it's like, okay, I'll just watch politics. But
Well, even Jeremy tells people not to watch him for the news.
yeah, oddly enough, he's my source of news.
If he would say you have problems, and you would
That's
probably
okay.
agree.
That's okay. It keeps his stream going.
That's true.
I contribute with my really dumb jokes in the chat.
I watch him for the memes, and then when I get angry, I watch Tim Pool. So
Mhm.
Timmy boy, he frustrates me sometimes.
He frustrates a lot of people.
Thing is he's more truthful than half the people out there, and then that frustrates me even more because I'm like, why are you following these fucking narratives when you're more truthful than freaking half the people out there?
Yeah, well, that's why I honestly feel like Jeremy is more truthful than Tim Pool.
Oh, I
even,
agree. Like
even though
there's a
he,
whole like hierarchy level of this. Like I would put like as far as truthful, maybe not necessarily reliable on the news, but truthful on the news, Jeremy's at the top.
yeah,
Um,
but also he doesn't take himself completely serious. He knows how to meme at the right time, but he also knows how to be serious when he needs to be.
right. Well, like the whole tirade he went on, was it yesterday or the day before, where he was talking about, Alex Jones, and and he
Yeah,
was roasting Alex, talking about how, he criticizes Trump too, and he does. When it's the right time and it's for the right reasons, he does criticize Trump. Um,
yeah.
but this
Well,
isn't supposed to be a politics podcast, but
no,
we're
no
there.
worries. Yeah,
We're there.
you went there.
Yeah.
But anyway, any other thoughts
Let's see
on
here.
the any other pop culture stuff?
Let's see what Duke said here. He said, I think they had to swing by the dark side of the moon, make sure what they're hiding is still hidden. Got to make sure the seal they put in place way back when is still intact. You mean the one where, they imprisoned Rita? That seal? Yeah. Throwing it back on Power Rangers there.
Uh-huh. Nice segue back to Power Rangers.
Nah, if I had to take a guess, I think the most plausible thing is related to the fireballs that we've been seeing in the sky. I think that they might have a fear that might be something bigger, and so they sent people up to confirm it, because satellites can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think, but at the same time, I don't think that's the only reason they went up. I think it's very possible that they could have gone up for multitude of reasons. It could be related to the war in Iran and Ukraine and all that stuff, and it could be related to the fireballs, and it could be a number of things. So I don't necessarily believe the official story simply because all they do is lie to us. So,
Mm-hmm.
but leaving on that, going back to pop culture, you know, touching on everything. I'm excited for Legend of the White Dragon. I believe it's August 26th is the date they officially announced.
I believe it's
So
28th.
28th. Okay. Well, we'll see if that comes to pass or not. It's a little concerning because, like I said, I thought I had seen reports saying that websites were starting to put it on stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah, really hoping, crossing fingers, because it's been a long time coming for that film, and um, it would be it would have been nice to have a great send off for JDF back at the time, but I know they wanted it to. Obviously, I don't know if he was able to complete it before he died, but if they were able to complete it without him, I really hope that it captured everything he wanted to include in it.
From what I remember, I think they finished principal photography. I don't think they finished reshoots. So I think everything that they use from JDF will be principal photography shots. Um, I don't think they had started reshoots when he passed.
Mhm. Well, I think
So
I might I think, like, some of it might have, because I know they had, like, when I say, like, reshoots, I meant, like, with, like, Johnny Young Bosch, because I know, like,
mhm.
his parts the parts that he filmed, I think he couldn't film anymore, so they had to probably take his parts out and kind of shift things around. So that's usually what I wonder about the reshoots.
Where they're doing limited theater release, I think this movie's gonna make majority of its um, revenue from streaming.
Yeah, because usually after theaters, it goes straight to usually Fandango, because a lot of, like, the Will Go USA Entertainment stuff that I do watch, it goes straight to Fandango.
It could end up going to Disney Plus because if Saban is involved, like the rumors say, Saban's heavily tied to Disney right now, Disney and Fox,
I don't
and
watch Disney Plus.
Power Rangers is um, the movies got split. This is weird. So the movies and the show got split. The movie rights went to Paramount, and the TV rights went to Disney Plus. But the old Fox movies are owned by Disney outright, and I'm like, this is weird. Like, we're not going to get another Power Rangers movie for the next 30 years unless it comes from Paramount, and we're not going to get a show for the next 10 years unless it comes from Disney Plus. So,
I cringe at the thought of anything with Disney lately. I don't watch Disney Plus at all. I don't really watch a whole lot that comes from Disney because
and
it's
then
like,
with
ugh,
the whole HBO and Warner Brothers buyout, it's like, so what's going to happen with HBO Max and Paramount Plus? Like, how are they going to merge those? Because like I have HBO Max and then I have Paramount Plus through Amazon, and it's like, okay, am I gonna like I'm gonna have to cancel one of them? So I think.
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we're trying to like I had to keep like looking for it because even though it's like, is it really releasing? Like they have a date that they're sticking to that date, but it's like they did this with like Undisputed, where like, oh yeah, we're getting a fifth movie, and it was slated and rumored that this and this and this and Scott Atkins is usually the one to fully confirm these things, and he goes, he goes, I wish, but no. So I usually take it with like a grain of salt when they say, "Yay, something's coming out," and it's like unless I have a release date or there's, I really hope they have more marketing because if it's really like coming out in August, they really got to be pushing that marketing. So I don't know if they have like a trailer ready, or I know I've seen like a bit of trailers, but it's like they really need more promotion to get this off the ground. They'll have a better outreach, but I know a lot of it is basically because wasn't it crowdfunded? Because this project,
Yeah.
so it's definitely for fans of JDF and all the other Power Rangers because it's gonna have a Power Rangers cast, but it's
Right.
not fully Power Rangers. So he's not
That
playing Tommy Oliver, he's playing, Eric Reed.
right. That's what's so weird about this is like I can't even find anything denying. So it always weirds me out when I hear a rumor and I can't find anything denying the rumor. Nothing will confirm it, but nothing will deny it either.
Mhm.
And specifically, I'm talking about like Saban's involvement. From my understanding, the rumors are Saban is involved in the is distribution of the movie. So they weren't involved in the production. All of that was like you said, crowdfunded and everything. JDF put a lot of his own money into it. Aaron put some of his own money into it, and
Hmm.
so it was completely independently made.
Well,
Um,
I figured, I thought I read that Wellgo USA Entertainment was probably producing it or distributing it. So I figured they were going through them, not necessarily. Yeah, so unless they're also
it
going
could
through
be a
Saban.
it could be a co-distribution. I know that's going on right now, where like two or three companies will go in together.
Hmm. To make
So
sure
it could,
it goes out.
yeah, yeah, it could be one of those things. So I don't know. It's a lot of hearsay, a lot of rumors that this whole production of this movie has been a shit show.
Yeah,
So I really hope that it's good when it does finally come out.
yeah. If and when it comes out, because like I said, they seem pretty like gung ho on the whole slate for uh August 28th is what I've been reading and hearing.
Which I mean, that's not all things considered. That's not that far away.
No,
It'd be one thing if they had announced it, say like 2 years from now, and we'd be like, yeah, sure, sure. But with it being just a few months away, it's like okay, there
yeah.
could be some
Well,
truth
'cause
to it.
Well, usually when they do say, "Oh, maybe or this movie is in the works to be coming out in the next 2 years or the next year," it's like, "Okay, when?" And then
Right,
it's just a rumor, nothing comes out about it, and then the people are getting excited about it, and then the actors that are rumored to be in the project have to come out and say, no." So they they have to like people need to be really careful about that because it's like when you're I like me, I get a little too excited and sometimes I have to remind myself, wait till I hear anything fully concrete and it's hard when you're a fan of something.
right.
'Cause it's like I would love a new Undisputed movie, but I that's up to Scott Adkins and who he's working with. But so yeah, I'm looking forward to the White Dragon. It I really hope it's out in August because it's been a
It
long
doesn't.
time.
I think Scott's got or it may not be new, but I thought I saw a new movie on Amazon the other day that has Scott Atkins in it. Whereas like it was might have been new to Amazon, but I'd have to go back and look.
Mm,
Yeah, but I thought I saw something. It looked pretty interesting. Oh, it was I don't think it was called. Was it Prisoner of War? Maybe where
yeah,
like he
that
is that
one
what the movie's
that
called?
came out last year.
Okay. Well, when I saw it, it said it was like just added to Amazon. So
Yeah, that one was last year, and it was a Louis Mandylor direct. He directed it, and it had Donald Cowboy in it, and I was like, it had Cowboy in it.
well, it
So
looked fairly interesting. I think
it
I
it's a
it
great
reminded me of
movie.
something. It reminded me of something from the past, and I can't remember what. But there was a movie that had a similar concept where the guy just had to keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting. Um,
Hmm.
but I can't remember what the movie was.
Well, there's one that I think you would enjoy. It's called Life After Fighting. The
Hmm.
action is it's so good, and the acting's not half bad. I had a few nitpicks, but definitely overall, it was a very enjoyable movie. That like the action will keep you interested.
I think I had seen that in passing too. So yeah, I'll have to check. I'll have to check that out.
Yep,
Um,
it's pretty great.
well, we got about 5 minutes. I got some more things to go over here, but let's do some. Let's plug our stuff. So, Mac, what you got for us? Anything you want to talk about with your channel or anything?
Uh, I've been on a little bit of a break from my channel just to rest up my wrist and stuff and personal stuff
Hmm.
but yeah, I'm trying to like divide my time between life streaming, writing, and art. And honestly, it's like the art is more of like something I like to do to de-stress. It's not something I like to do like all the time, but I know I have to like it's something I like to put together so people have something to enjoy, but it's not something like I know people are like, "When's the next video?" But it's like I love it. I want to be able to create more. I would, but unfortunately, my wrist has other ideas because my I've been doing it for so long. You know, I feel like Wolverine and Logan half the time.
Well, that's also kind of like, it'll come out when it comes out.
Mhm.
I felt that way sometimes, but I'm also the kind of person like me personally, and this, I'm not critiquing you at all, so don't think that. I'm the kind of person when I start something, I get impatient, so I want to keep doing it until I finish it.
Oh yeah,
Um, and I wear myself out by doing that. Like I'll finish a project and I'll just be exhausted and I won't do nothing for a month. So,
because you kind of do get burnout after a
mhm,
while, and the last thing you want to do is create something half finished or just not as good if you're burnt out on it.
right. I'm not going to go into too much details, but I've got a project that I started working on last week. I just pulled the beast into it, sent him some stuff. I'm hoping later this summer, I can start the campaigns for it and start putting it out. It's not going to be monetized or anything like that, so I'm not trying to sell nothing or anything. But it's just it's music related. It's an idea I had. It's come together pretty well, but there's some things that I'm having to do, and I'm gonna have to not rely on AI so much and actually do it myself, which
Mhm.
is a plus. When I do finally finish it, I'll probably be even more proud of it, and hopefully everyone else likes it more too. Um, but no, when I'm done with this, I'm probably gonna be burnt out and on it and stuff. Um, but and if y'all didn't see it, I guest hosted on uh, Unfiltered Outlaws After Dark yesterday. I'll share screen real quick. Where's it at? There it is. Share that real quick. So we had Eric Hudson, Dreaded Dinosaur, the illustrator to Daughter's Revenge, Jay and X Wing's book, which I've skimmed over it, but I have not fully read it yet. I will eventually, but between work and everything, I don't know if I mentioned, I'm working 6 days a week right now, which I'm not complaining. I'm getting overtime, so that's good. But so I'm tired for different reasons, and my sleep schedule is getting all out of whack and everything. So I get it. But no, go and if you haven't seen it, go and check out their show. It was a really fun discussion. Eric is a very down to earth kind of guy. He's really just a normal dude, in all honesty. So he's not like Jay. He's not brown nosing with all the celebrities and everything. I'm kidding, by the way, Jay. We love you. No homo. Anyway, but no, y'all can catch me on X at Draken_199. Obviously, you know this channel, Draken Culture Media. Um, if you haven't checked it out yet, I've got a book. It's on Amazon, and I that's an idea that I've had over the years. I did use AI to finally push me over the edge and help me finish it. But if you want to check it out, I would really appreciate it. But it's called The Door of Despair. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it won't cost you anything. If you want to buy it outright, it's a digital copy, just about $6 or whatever. Um, but it's in the vein of Goosebumps, Tales from the Crypts. It's confusing, mystery, cosmic horror, monsters. It's got a little bit of everything in it. But it was fun to write and everything. And then I did a companion song that's on this channel. Should go check it out. But that's called Cycle of Fate, and it gives you a little rough idea of what the story is about. The song's kind of in the vein of Black Veil Brides. But yeah, so that's about all I got for you. I think we're over time. I think that's time to hit the old dusty trail. What do you think, Mac?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching. And stay safe, stay blessed, as the beast would say. You all have a great day.
Bye.